Would I be the asshole if I kept my dog that went missing 3 years ago but has now been found? I have a dog that went missing 3 years ago when my roommate left him out of the house with his dog. We live in the countryside and this is quite common, so I understand why he did it. After a few weeks, I gave up and assumed a hawk had gotten him. Well, 3 years later my boyfriend finds him in the road a mile or so from our house and brings him home. I come to find out that a family with a child has had him this whole time. Would I be the asshole if I kept him? I'm 100% positive this is the same dog. Unique markings and he responds to his name and knew who me and my roommate's dog was. Not the asshole. Finds him in the road. So they're as bad as your roommate. Not the asshole. Whoever had your dog is the asshole for not trying to find you when they found your dog. YWNBTAH, but make sure to get him microchipped right away and get your vet records updated. Did you have him chipped? If so, then they stole your dog. If you didn't chip him but they did, you will need to be extra careful with him getting loose because you will not be able to prove your ownership of this dog. Keep him. I know I would in your situation. He was yours first. I'm not religious, superstitious or spiritual, but something like this happens? Maybe it was meant to. Get him microchipped and maybe bring veterinary records from the past, if you still have them, proving your ownership. Not the asshole honestly if he was close enough to have wandered near your house again. The people probably made zero effort to find you when he showed up. He is your dog, you don't have to give him back. Am I the asshole for saying my boyfriend's friend can't visit us now that I'm pregnant? My boyfriend has a friend who is currently doing the whole #vanlifing thing and living out of his van. The past several months, this friend has been coming by our house a couple days a week. Each time he's here, he stays around 10 to 12 hours to use the shower, kitchen, washing machine, and Wi-Fi. I've been unhappy with the lack of privacy and the extra work for quite a while, which my boyfriend is well aware of, but have been putting up with it because the friend is down on his luck and could use some help. However, now that I'm pregnant, I'm ready for this situation to end. I want to be able to lay on my couch without pants, not shove my giant, tired boobs into a bra constantly, and talk about my private medical details with my partner without having to whisper about them in another room. I'm also just worn out in general, and the friend is generating so much extra work. He comes into our home after doing construction jobs and tracks in tons of dust and dirt. Every time he showers he somehow leaves a thick coating of body hair all over the shower I have to clean up before I can shower again. After he uses the washing machine there's sticks and leaves and sand all over the laundry room. Not only does he hog the kitchen when I want to cook meals sometimes, but he also leaves all his dirty dishes for me to deal with afterwards. Ideally, I'd have my boyfriend deal with the extra work, since he's the one who's inviting the dude over, but with his busier work schedule, most of the household work falls to me. So to me, it's a no-brainer that the friend finds somewhere else to be for a couple months to give me some privacy and a break from the added work. However, when I brought this up to my boyfriend and told him it was time to set a boundary with the friend, he told me it was first of all, a very awkward and weird thing to ask his friend, and secondly, a cruel and insensitive thing for me to request. He's willing to do so for me, but at the same time, is making it very clear he thinks I'm a monster for even asking him to do this. Is it actually reasonable for me to put a no visitors rule in place for a few months or not? It's your house and space. Friend has to find somewhere else to impose, now and after child arrives. If Moocher ever visits again, I'd also advise you not do anything to assist clean up, instead text a list of all that needs doing due to Moocher's dirt to your partner, and have him do all the cleanup, no matter what hours he works, because the only reason he doesn't understand the load is because he isn't carrying most of the practical task load. Info. Aside from the fact that the father of the baby you're expecting called you a monster. What's his plan for when the baby comes? Is he vanlifing or is he living out of his vehicle? There's a difference, but either way a lot of places have facilities that people can utilize when choosing to live a van life. Not the asshole. He has overstayed his welcome by being a horrible guest. These are just the consequences of his actions. As a grown adult, he shouldn't even have to be asked to scrape the grime that falls off him and his clothes off the surfaces he dirties up. I'm picturing an adult Pigpen from the Peanuts comic strip, and I definitely wouldn't have wanted him polluting the space I was trying to get ready for an infant, or have signed up to be his unpaid maid. Great, then your boyfriend can pick up and clean after his friend starting today. He doesn't care about how exhausting it makes you, so you can also overlook how exhausting his work schedule is. That'll help him understand where you're coming from. Hopefully your partner can come to his senses and realize you're pregnant and shouldn't be stressing or doing so much work like that anyway. Not the asshole. Even if he was courteous, put food in the fridge and cleaned up after himself, it would still be out of line to have what's essentially a third roommate in your space during the majority of your awake hours. This would be infuriating. Am I the asshole for going out to eat when my husband is working late shifts? My husband and I work different shifts. I worked first shift and he works a late second shift. So we don't often eat dinner together because he leaves for work right before I get home and he gets home from work after I am asleep. We also have very different tastes in foods. He has a more basic, American food-based diet and he also loves seafood. I love foods from other cultures, but I don't like seafood. Because of this, when we are home together we cook different meals and eat it together. If I make something he likes, I'll ask if he wants some. If he makes something I like, he does the same. But we always eat together on our days off, whether it be eating out on a date or eating cooked food at home. We've been doing this for years and it's worked. But since we work different shifts, 5 to 6 days per week, I am eating dinner alone. I usually cook, but a couple times per month, I go out to a restaurant that serves food he doesn't like to have dinner. When we are talking later, I usually tell him how I had something from a restaurant and he asks how it was and I tell him. No biggie. The other day I was out trying a Peruvian restaurant recommended by a coworker. My husband and I had looked at the menu and he didn't see anything he was particularly looking forward to on it, so I added it to my list of places to go when he works. And I went that day. He got out of work early and called me and I told him where I was. And he got mad. I finished up and went home and he was upset and asked how long this has been going on for. I was confused because he knows I do this. But apparently he thought I did pickup or delivery. I tend to eat in because I don't want dishes at home. He also can't really explain why he is so mad, but it seems he's mad I'm out dining alone. I just go out, get food, and read while I wait and eat. Then I come home. It's always food he won't like as well, so I go alone so I can have it. He hasn't been really talking to me since it happened. The conversations are short and cold and it makes me feel like I did something wrong by doing this for years and not specifying I eat in the restaurant to do it. He has never acted this way about anything else. He has always been very kind and willing to work through any issues we have. So I am not sure what's different with this. Am I the asshole for going out to eat alone and not specifying to my husband that I ate in the restaurant? Am going to a restaurant alone with a book sounds fantastic. And no, you're not the asshole and I can't think of a single reason why this would bother your husband. Super weird. The only thing I can think of is that he thinks you might be dining out alone to try to attract male attention and is getting mad at you because he doesn't really have a good reason for how he feels, especially since you told him ages ago. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Unless there's some kind of financial problem being exacerbated by you dining out occasionally. It sounds like your husband just expects you to not enjoy yourself? That's so wild to me. Also, did you get chicken with the green sauce at the Peruvian place? Not the asshole. He also can't really explain why he is so mad. I mean, there's no good explanation, so. Is he mad because he got off work early and thought you'd be home? Then, when you weren't home, he became disappointed, and that turned into anger. Not the asshole. Your husband needs to figure out why he's upset because you did nothing wrong. Not an a-hole for doing what you've been doing, it sounds delightful. Not sure your hubby is an a-hole per se. I do wonder what impact finding out you've been dining in alone has had on your hubby's beliefs. Hope y'all can figure this one out. Sounds like the rest of your relationship is going okay. He has always been very kind and willing to work through any issues we have, sounds pretty wholesome. Am I the asshole for telling my dad that his new girlfriend of 3 weeks and her 4 kids can't come to my birthday? Hey, so my dad just started dating this woman 3-ish weeks ago. I don't live at home anymore, I'm away for university but drive back on the weekends. My grandparents always come visit for my birthday and my dad decided having his new girlfriend along with her 4 kids come over, despite me not being comfortable with them due to not knowing them overly well, is a good idea. My birthday is roughly a week away and I asked him if he could have them over some other day because I just want to spend time with my grandparents on my birthday. He said that he asked my brother and sister if they wanted his girlfriend and her kids to come over and they didn't mind. So I said, "Why didn't you ask me? It's my birthday," to which he replied, "You always say no to hanging out with them when you visit, because I want to relax and see my hometown friends. He's only asked me like 3x. So then I was mad that he didn't ask because he knew I'd tell him I didn't want them at my birthday." Not the asshole. She's only been around 3 weeks and frankly, the mother of those kids shouldn't be going all in introducing her kids to her boyfriend's family, when she's only been with him a short time. It's your birthday and your choice who you choose to have there. Edit. Spelling errors. There are so many ahs in this story and none of them are you. Your dad for not giving a crap about your wishes on your birthday. This woman he is dating for already introducing some guy she just met to her kids. Genuinely do not know why you keep calling her a girl. Unless she's a minor? In which case you can solve all your problems by just going to the police. Your grandparents for not setting a boundary on your behalf. Not the asshole. You always say no to hanging out with them when you visit. Not the asshole. He should have both asked you and respected your answer. It is your birthday. He's forcing his shiny new girlfriend, and all her kids, on you. That's pretty appalling, emo. I would call your grandparents about what your father is trying to do. Go do something with the two of them yourself. Info. Wait, they've been dating for 3 weeks and they're both introducing their kids to each other? I hope everyone involved is an adult. When you say you're not getting along well with them because I just haven't had the time to get to know them yet, are you saying you can't get along well with someone until you get to know them? What could there be to fight about in just 3 weeks, considering you don't spend time with them when you're at your dad's house? Do you spend time with your mother? Do the GF's children have fathers in the picture? This just all seems to be moving really quickly. I asked him if he could have them over some other day because I just want to spend time with my grandparents on my birthday. It's your birthday, and that's a fair ask. You acknowledge the only barrier between you, and your dad's new girlfriend, and her kids, is the lack of familiarity. As you say, it's only been 3 weeks since they met. Your dad barely knows her either. If your dad's new relationship continues, there will be ample time to get to know them. It sounds like he's excited, and wants to include them, and you, in his new happiness. But your dad also needs to calm down a bit, and remember that you are his son, and this is your day. Not the asshole.